The movie begins by showing a scene where a female photographer named Lin Xiaoxi is doing a model photo shoot in her studio. Xiaoxi is a big young woman who has always wanted to have slim and small bodies like the beautiful models she takes pictures of all the time. However, she still has difficulty maintaining her diet and appetite, so she always fails to go on a weight loss diet. The scene switches to a convenience store where a handsome young man named Hanbing buys some of Xiaoxi's favorite snacks. Hanbing is her best friend who has known Xiaoxi since they were little, and they have always attended the same school from elementary school until they graduated from high school. Right now, Hanbing has worked as a music producer and film director who is quite famous and successful, while Xiaoxi is still pursuing her job as a professional photographer in a studio. Hanbing is known to be very accomplished in his field because he has received several awards for several projects he has completed. That day, Hanbing was supposed to meet with a client at his office to discuss the cooperation of the project they would do in the future, but Hanbing was apparently late to come to the meeting. His male assistant, Ah Zheng, kept contacting him and asking him to come to their office because their client had been waiting for a long time. However, Hanbing, who seemed uninterested in cooperating with the client, preferred to ignore the meeting and directly hang up the call from Ah Zheng. Because of that, the client, who was disappointed and frustrated, decided to cancel his collaboration. That night, Xiaoxi was reading a fashion magazine to see a cover photo of a young male artist whom she idolized. She continued praising the good looks of the young artist named Huangke and even showed off the photo to her roommate Jiaze in front of her. Jiaze, who felt that Huangke was still less handsome than Hanbing, said Hanbing was far better than him. Afterward, Jiaze asked Xiaoxi if she had never intended to date or have a romantic relationship with Hanbing. Hearing that, she denied it and said that their relationship was only friendship and there would never be a special relationship between them, because they had been friends since childhood. However, Jiaze doesn't believe that and feels there is something more than just friends because a friend can't possibly have monthly appointments. Hearing that, Xiaoxi remembered that today she should meet Hanbing at the city park to hang out and have dinner together. Then she rushed to the meeting location while Jiaze could only wait at their apartment to see photos of them together when they were little. The scene switched to the past when Hanbing was still in elementary school. He was quite fat compared to the other kids, so the other students at his school always mocked and excluded him. At that time, Xiaoxi met Hanbing for the first time, and she kindly wanted to defend him from the naughty kids at school, and always accompanied him during lunch break. Since then, the situation began to reverse for Hanbing and Xiaoxi. Hanbing, who was once fat, has become thinner and more handsome, while Xiaoxi, once thin, has grown into a fatter woman. However, they always try to accompany and protect each other so that their friendship becomes even stronger over time. That night after Xiaoxi arrived at the city square park, Hanbing invited her to exercise by running around the field. But she never lasted long enough. She quit after just a few laps. Xiaoxi, lying limp in the middle of the field, asked Hanbing to recharge her energy by eating various snacks he had prepared beforehand. After finishing several packs of snacks, Xiaoxi, who was still hungry, invited Hanbing to go to the food market and have dinner together. Then he started accompanying Xiaoxi to hunt for delicious snacks and dishes in big portions. When Xiaoxi was busy enjoying her food very heartily at a restaurant, some of the men there started insulting her, who always ate very large portions. However, she didn't care about their chatter at all. After finishing some food, Hanbing invited Xiaoxi to go shopping at a shopping center. Unfortunately, most of the shoe and dress sizes sold in mall stores are small and medium, so Xiaoxi can't wear all of these dresses or shoes. Even she wants to look beautiful by wearing beautiful clothes or shoes often worn by models at her work. She said she hated it when they had to get out of the elevator because when she stepped in, it got overloaded. After that, when Xiaoxi and Hanbing were relaxing on a boat, she said she wanted to wear short skirts and pretty clothes like other women usually wear in summer. The night before they parted ways, Hanbing asked what Xiaoxi wanted for her birthday, and she said she wanted to date a handsome man, but he ignored the request. On the way to her apartment, Xiaoxi found an injured little white rabbit, so she decided to bring the rabbit back to her place and treat it. The next morning after Xiaoxi changed the bandages of the rabbit she found last night, the rabbit's eyes slightly lit up as if it was no ordinary rabbit. When she was relaxing in her room with the rabbit while wearing a face mask, Xiaoxi suddenly had guests in front of her house. When she saw a group of people in front of her door, Xiaoxi thought they wanted to rent photo services at her studio, so she said she was on holiday. However, a beautiful woman named Song Wenlu, who claimed to be the manager of Huangke's artist management, asked her to allow them to do a photo shoot there because they couldn't go anywhere since there was a rainstorm when they were going to their original studio. Wenlu said they would pay a fair amount if Xiaoxi was willing to rent for the photo shoot. When Xiaoxi hasn't answered yet, they suddenly enter her studio with a popular artist, Huangke, whom she had always idolized. After that, Huangke thanked Xiaoxi for allowing his crew to have a photo shoot at her studio. He praised her beauty and said that she was a very sweet girl. When Huang Ke talked with Wen Lu, he said that Xiaoxi could actually be a beautiful girl if she was a little slimmer. Hearing this, Xiaoxi became motivated to lose weight, and she approached Han Bing to ask how he could lose weight. Han Bing then began to provide various tips for her, starting from exercising regularly, taking vitamins, and managing a healthier diet. Unfortunately, after a few days of intense exercise and a strict diet, Xiaoxi could no longer continue with the process because she couldn't help but eat ample portions of delicious dishes. At night when Xiaoxi was contemplating her life, she suddenly heard a knock on the door from the rabbit she saved the other day, and the rabbit led her to an old abandoned house. Xiaoxi, who felt curious, entered the old house, but miraculously she suddenly sank into the house floor and moved to another dimension. Xiaoxi panicked because she thought she had died. Suddenly, an old man who claimed to be the incarnation of the rabbit she had saved before came to Xiaoxi and calmed her down. He knew that Xiaoxi had always wanted a slim body, and he promised to help her get that straight body. After Xiaoxi grumbled and took off his mustache, the old man gave a magic potion to her. He warned that Xiaoxi had to pay for the magic potion with a certain sacrifice every time she drank it. When Xiaoxi arrived at her apartment, she drank the magic slimming potion, and in a short time, she turned into a very beautiful and slim girl. The next morning, when she woke up from her sleep, Xiaoxi still couldn't believe that her body had turned thinner without having to do a series of diets or regular exercise. When Xiaoxi was still trying to digest what had happened, Han Bing suddenly called her, but she kept ignoring the phone calls, making him feel worried. Shortly after that, Xiaoxi received a call from her co-worker, who asked for her help to replace him on a work project that day because he was sick and had to be hospitalized for several days. Soon after, she got ready and started wearing the beautiful dresses that she couldn't wear all this time because she was overweight. On the other hand, Han Bing, who failed to contact Xiaoxi, became worried and couldn't focus on his work because he thought something bad was happening to her. Zheng became a little irritated with Han Bing, who kept thinking about Xiaoxi even though they had to decide which female model they would choose for their next music video project. Meanwhile, Xiaoxi is going to a client's place to replace her co-worker, who is sick, and she begins to feel something different than usual. Along the way to the client's meeting location, many young men or men glanced at her because they were fascinated by her beauty and charisma. Upon her arrival at the meeting location, Xiaoxi realized that the client she was going to work with was her idol artist, who was none other than Huang Ke. Xiaoxi then approached Wen Lu as Huang Ke's manager to provide details about the photo shoot concept they would go through. Seeing a beautiful girl standing in front of him, Huang Ke wasted no time and used the opportunity to tease her. Huang Ke, who was familiar with her face, asked Xiaoxi if they had met. Hearing that, she was shocked. She admitted they had never met. In the middle of the conversation, parts of her body began to grow and return to their original size, so Xiaoxi rushed away from that place. That night when Xiaoxi got home, she tested the magic slimming potion to see how long the slimming effect would last. The next day, Han Bing decided to visit Xiaoxi's house to see if she was okay, considering that she still hadn't replied to his message. Xiaoxi, who was still not ready to reveal her changes to Han Bing, put on a disguise and pretended to be one of her friends. Unfortunately, she couldn't fool someone who had known her for dozens of years, and he recognized that the girl in front of him was Xiaoxi. Xiaoxi had no choice but to tell Han Bing about everything that had happened to her at the old house, and the magic slimming potion she got from an old man with a mustache. At first, Han Bing still couldn't believe this ridiculous thing and thought she had had a liposuction procedure. But when he saw her body returning to its original size, he began to believe it. Then he asked Xiaoxi how long the slimming effect would last, and she said that the potion's effect could only last for 10 hours after use. In the evening, when Han Bing was selecting a portfolio that would be a model for his latest project, he began to consider Huang Ke as the main cast in the project because, previously, Xiaoxi, who really idolized Huang Ke, had recommended him. The next day, Xiaoxi asked Zheng for help to help her become a very beautiful girl who is popular on social media. Feeling that she had a cute face, Zheng happily offered his help to her and started helping her dress up to become a prettier and more elegant girl. After changing her hairstyle, makeup, and trying on several clothing styles, Xiaoxi finally found a style that suits her and has now transformed into a very beautiful woman. She even showed off her changed appearance to Han Bing, but he didn't react honestly and pretended not to be interested. After Xiaoxi had transformed into a beautiful girl with an ideal body, she created a social media account with Alice as her new name. The next day, when Huang Ke was filming a music video project produced by Han Bing, he didn't seem serious because he felt he didn't get chemistry with his co-star. Seeing his outrageous treatment made the main female model fed up and preferred to go out from the project. When Alice appeared on set as Han Bing's new assistant, Huang Ke was fascinated by her beautiful aura, so he suggested that Alice become the new female lead model while continuing to tease her. However, Han Bing objected to this because he did not want Huang Ke to continue spreading charm with Alice. But because they had to finish the project soon, he was forced to agree to the plan. While shooting the video clip, Hanbin continues to be jealous of Huang Ke, who constantly seduces Alice with his playboy style, so he continues to find flaws in Huang Ke as revenge. At the same time, Alice noticed his unprofessional attitude and became irritated with his childishness. When Hanbin offered Alice a water bottle, she gave it to Huang Ke, which made him even more annoyed with them. Because filming the music video took a long time, Alice continued to drink the magic slimming potion regularly so that people would not suspect her. On the other hand, Hanbin continued finding flaws in Huang Ke, which frustrated him. The next day, when Hanbin was resting during his busy filming schedule, Zheng suddenly approached him and said that Huang Ke and Alice would have a kiss scene. Hearing this, he obviously balked at this scene and intended to replace that scene with another scene. But Zheng stopped him because this was an important scene in the music video. When filming the kiss scene was about to take place, Hanbin stopped the scene on the pretext that the scene they had so far was pretty good. As the filming process was about to end, he overheard Huang Ke and Xiaoxi's conversation about going on a date, so he planned to secretly spy on their date. That night when Huang Ke and Xiaoxi were watching a movie together at the cinema, Hanbin sneaked into the audience seats behind them. When they left the cinema, Hanbin followed them. Suddenly, several fangirls were running around Hanbin, so Huang Ke took the opportunity to take Xiaoxi away from that place. However, he still didn't give up and followed them until he took part in supervising the dinner. That was supposed to be a romantic dinner between Huang Ke and Xiaoxi. When Huang Ke was about to pour a glass of sake to Xiaoxi, Hanbin forbade him because Xiaoxi could not handle alcoholic beverages. However, it turned out that she instead accepted the offer and drank with Huang Ke. At midnight, Huang Ke invited Xiaoxi to drink at a nightclub to have a party together. But in the middle of the party, her body began to change to its original size, so she ran to the toilet to hide. Xiaoxi panicked when she realized she had forgotten to bring the magic slimming potion. Fortunately, Hanbin came to the place wearing a rabbit costume, so that Xiaoxi could leave the place in the costume without being suspected by Huang Ke and others. When Xiaoxi walked out of the toilet wearing the bunny costume, Huang Ke insulted her and said she was very fat without realizing that the person in the costume was her. Xiaoxi, who overheard this, became very sad and began to realize that a fat girl like her would never be worthy of a popular artist like Huang Ke. On the way back to her apartment, Hanbin said that recently she started to change into someone else, so he asked Xiaoxi to be honest and be herself. Xiaoxi, offended by his words, began to bring up the past when Hanbin said he would never have a relationship with her. She said that no one wants to accept her as she is because of her very fat body, and even the best friend she has always defended has never thought of her as a girlfriend. That night when Hanbin arrived home, he was still thinking about what Xiaoxi had said before, and he felt very tormented because he had not been able to express that he really loved her. The next day, the shooting of the music video was almost over, and they only needed to shoot the last few scenes of the project. During the filming process, Huang Ke continued to tease and show his attention to Xiaoxi, which made Wenlu feel a little jealous. Then Wenlu secretly ordered a private investigator to investigate Xiaoxi, who was disguised as Alice, and she began to get suspicious when she saw Alice's changing photos. In the evening, when Zheng was talking with Hanbin, Zheng told him that Xiaoxi and Huang Ke's relationship had recently become closer. However, he already knew that, and he had realized that from the start. Hanbin had predicted from the start that Xiaoxi would not like him because he had heard that she would never see him as a boyfriend when she was still in junior high school. Seeing Hanbin feeling heartbroken, Zheng advised him to divert his mind from his work and focus on completing the song that he had previously composed. Zheng informed that Chris Huang's entertainment company, which houses artist Huang Ke, had invited them to dinner to discuss their next collaboration. The next night when Hanbin attends the dinner meeting, it turns out that Xiaoxi is attending the meeting, and the situation between them becomes a little awkward. On that occasion, Wenlu asked Xiaoxi to sit beside her because she wanted to ask her a few things. Meanwhile, Hanbin, who was in the bathroom, overheard a conversation with Huang Ke, who was talking to another girl on the phone. This obviously made Hanbin angry because he thought that Huang Ke sincerely loved Xiaoxi. However, it turned out Huang Ke was just toying with her and having a relationship with another girl. Then Hanbin asked Huang Ke to tell Xiaoxi the truth so she would not misunderstand his feelings. Unfortunately, Huang Ke refuses and thinks Hanbin is only jealous because he failed to get Alice. Hearing that made Hanbin angry, so he threw a hard punch to Huang Ke's face, and a fight between them could no longer be avoided. At the same time, Wenlu started asking Alice what her next plan was and offered her a business card if she needed her to help one day. After a while, Wenlu deliberately said Alice's real name to see her reaction. When Wenlu noticed that Alice turned her head when she heard the name mentioned, she was more and more convinced that Alice and Xiaoxi were the same people. Then Wenlu confidently asked Alice to convey a message to Xiaoxi that she already knew about her deepest secret, which shocked Xiaoxi. During the tension, they were surprised by the sound of something breaking, which was caused by a fight between Huang Ke and Hanbin. Shortly after, Xiaoxi and the others tried to separate them. But their efforts were unsuccessful, and the fight continued. Although their fight was briefly stopped when the elderly couple passed between them, they continued fighting after the elderly couple left. Xiaoxi, who couldn't stand the chaos, shouted so that they stopped their fight. On the way home, Han Bing told Xiaoxi that Huang Ke was just playing with her and said that she had to go through a long process of regular exercise and diet to become a slimmer woman. Xiaoxi, who felt offended, said that she could be very fat because she was trying to help him so that Han Bing would not be insulted by their old schoolmates. But after Xiaoxi said that, Han Bing's eyes suddenly lit up, and he couldn't remember their memories in the past. She feels disappointed with him, who has forgotten all the struggles that she has done to help him in the past. After that, she leaves him. When Xiaoxi walked away from him, Han Bing said that she would always be the Xiaoxi he had known and would never forget her. The next night when Xiaoxi had dinner with Huang Ke at a fancy restaurant, she asked Huang Ke if he would still like her if one day he gained weight. Then he honestly said that he didn't like fat girls and even hoped that Xiaoxi would lose another 2 to 3 kilos of weight for him. After dinner ended, Xiaoxi returned to the old house she had visited before, and met the old man to ask for a magic potion that had a permanent effect. Because she kept pulling his mustache, the old man complied with her request, but he warned that the permanent magic potion would have a permanent price to pay. The scene switches to Han Bing, who has recently started to feel a strange feeling in his mind where his memories of the past are starting to be erased. Apparently, the price of the magic potion that Xiaoxi had been minimally consuming all this time was that she had erased the memory of the person who sincerely loved her, and that person was Han Bing. That night, Han Bing had a hard time recollecting his memories with Xiaoxi, but he still remembered some things about her and started to write a special song for her. The next day after Xiaoxi got a permanent magic slimming potion, Han Bing automatically forgot everything about her after she drank the potion. In the afternoon, Xiaoxi came to the office to attend a press conference after she drank the permanent magic potion. But, strangely, the people in the office were acting strange and trying to avoid her. When the press conference about the release of Huang Ke's song and music video started, the journalists were interested in digging up information about his relationship with another girl instead of asking about his relationship with Xiaoxi. Xiaoxi, who had just realized that Huang Ke had another girl, was shocked. The situation became even more chaotic when some reporters started asking her about the liposuction rumors circulating on social media. Xiaoxi, who was confused by the situation, tried to run away from the place. But the situation in the place became even more chaotic, and one of Huang Ke's fans even started throwing drinks in her face. Luckily, Han Bing, at the location, helped secure her away from the crowd and brought her to a safe place. Xiaoxi then checked the news timeline on social media and found that someone had spread bad rumors about her. She was surprised that netizens wrote so many malicious comments about her, but Han Bing said that most people always behave like that. When Han Bing was about to leave her, she looked surprised and asked why he had left her alone in this situation. Because Han Bing didn't remember anything about her, he asked if she still needed his help, which confused her. Xiaoxi then showed Han Bing photos of their memories of when they were together, but it turned out that her face had been erased from all the photos. Xiaoxi finally realized that the price to pay for the magic slimming potion was to erase her memory from Han Bing's mind. Then she cried sadly and kept trying to remind Han Bing that she was Xiaoxi, who had been his best friend for years. Unfortunately, he couldn't remember anything about her. Because of that, she could only cry while regretting her earlier decision. The next day, Xiaoxi decided to approach Han Bing again and pretended to ask for his WeChat ID as if they had never met before. When Han Bing was about to have dinner at his regular restaurant, the waiter asked about Xiaoxi, who always came with him to have dinner at the restaurant. Meanwhile, Xiaoxi, who had now lost Han Bing, could only reminisce about everything she had done with him before. Xiaoxi, who is now close friends with Huang Ke, tries to tell him about her sadness after Han Bing completely forgets her. Then Huang Ke remembered that Han Bing had released a special song he deliberately wrote for his loved ones. Hearing this, Xiaoxi went to Zhang and asked him to play the song that Han Bing had just released. After hearing the song, she realized that Han Bing really loved her sincerely all this time, so she rushed to his house to meet him. It turned out that all this time, Han Bing had struggled a lot to be able to make Xiaoxi happy, starting from getting a costume to save her from Huang Ke, eating her favorite food even though he was allergic to that food, beating up people who bullied her at school, and other struggles. Because Xiaoxi couldn't find Han Bing at his house, she went to the old house and met the old man to beg for everything to be returned to the way it was. She realizes that she has made a big mistake by sacrificing people who have sincerely loved her just to satisfy her selfishness. The old man was relieved after knowing that Xiaoxi had realized her mistake, and he granted her wish to return everything to the way it was. The next night, Xiaoxi went to the city park to find Han Bing because that day was the day they had promised to have a meeting every month. Han Bing, who remembered her again, called her from across the fields and ran toward her. But unexpectedly, he fell into a dug hole. Several months after Xiaoxi did a regular exercise program and a regular diet, she could finally lose weight and get the ideal body she had always dreamed of. And now, Hanbing has turned into a very fat young man who always eats snacks wherever he goes. However, she will continue to love him under any conditions and repay all the sincere love that he has given. The film ends with a scene where Hanbing marries Xiaoxi and starts their happy lives as husband and wife. The moral that can be learned from this movie is, don't take advantage of people who sincerely care and love you. We have to repay their kindness before it's too late.